Imagine being in a relationship where love feels less like love and more like a constant pop quiz you never signed up for, one where the rules keep changing, the teacher never tells you when the test starts, and you're always one wrong answer away from detention. That's what my 9 months with Emily felt like. When we first met, she was magnetic. The kind of person who could walk into a room and pull everyone's attention without even trying. She laughed loudly, hugged tightly, and made me feel like I was the only person who mattered. Those first few months were electric, late-night phone calls until we fell asleep mid-sentence, random weekend road trips, her head on my shoulder during rainy movie marathons. I thought I'd found something rare. But over time, small things started to unsettle me. They weren't obvious at first, just little digs about how I didn't like her Instagram posts quickly enough, sarcastic comments when I didn't respond to her texts within a certain number of minutes. At first, I brushed it off. Everyone has quirks. Maybe she just valued attention more than most. Then the tests began. She'd post these vague, emotional things online, sad song lyrics, cryptic captions like, "Some people really aren't who you think they are," and then wait. I didn't know it at the time, but those were traps. If I didn't instantly message her to ask, "Is this about me?" she'd grow distant, cold. It was exhausting. I was dating a puzzle with missing pieces, expected to solve it before the timer ran out. Yesterday was the final straw. I was buried in work when I took a quick break and glanced at my phone. There it was, a black screen on her Instagram story with the words, "Some people really disappoint you lol." No context. No explanation. Just that. My stomach tightened, but I wasn't going to play detective. I figured it was about a friend, or something at work, or maybe just one of her moods. I went back to my emails. That evening, I went to her place. She opened the door with her arms folded and eyes sharp enough to cut glass. "So," she said, "you saw my story?" "Yeah," I replied. "What about it?" "Wow. You didn't even ask if it was about you. You failed." I blinked. Failed what exactly? It was a test. To see if you cared enough to check in. Something inside me went still. 9 months of walking on eggshells, decoding riddles, trying to avoid landmines, and now she was openly admitting it was all a game. "Emily," I said slowly, "I'm not a mind reader. I'm not glued to Instagram every 5 minutes. If you have a problem with me, say it. Like an adult." Her voice rose, sharp with accusation. "You're being cold and emotionally unavailable." And that was it. The snap. The point where the weight in my chest broke open and the words came spilling out. No. I'm being done. I'm done with the tests. I'm done with the drama. I'm done feeling like I have to prove my love every single day just to avoid a tantrum. She started crying. I didn't flinch. I walked into her bedroom, grabbed my hoodie, my charger, a couple of books, and stuffed them into my backpack. She followed, her voice shaking. "You're really leaving over one small thing?" I zipped the bag. "It's not one small thing. It's every red flag I ignored because I hoped you'd change." At the door, she called me heartless. I turned, meeting her eyes one last time. No. I just finally remembered I deserve peace. I walked out, blocking her number before I reached the street. The silence that followed was the sweetest thing I'd heard in months. No pings, no vague posts, no mental gymnastics to figure out what I'd done wrong. I went out with friends that night and laughed, real, unforced laughter, for the first time in weeks. I slept like a rock. She tried to reach me through mutual friends, even posted apologies online that were clearly meant to lure me back. I didn't respond. That's the thing about manipulative games, once you stop playing, they lose all their power. And that was my revenge. No dramatic public scenes, no screaming matches. Just walking away. Taking back my time, my peace, my sanity, and leaving her with the one thing she couldn't stand, silence. For someone who thrived on attention and control, my indifference was the loudest statement I could make. Not all revenge comes with fireworks. Sometimes it's just closing the door, locking it, and never looking back. And trust me, the morning you wake up and realize you're finally free? That's the sweetest revenge of all.